It says we're live and we have internet.
Yep.
All right. And we have 0 viewers. Facebook is doing a number on us. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. YouTube, forget about it. Facebook, we're blocked all over the place. Even Instagram is going down. Yeah, conservatives are just screwed. I'm going to have to look for another venue for us to do this podcast. But anyway, how are you, honey?
Great. How are you?
Frazzled. It's been a day and it's been a week, but retirement is very busy.
See what your husband has been going through for those years?
Hello, Professor is with us today. How are you, Professor? Good to see you. And good to see anyone that joins us, whether now or in reruns. I'm Leticia.
I'm Jen. I think all 4 of them know us. 2 of them are related to us.
Well, there may be some people that don't know us who watch us later on. It's not just a live broadcast,
You have big dreams, woman. Big.
I do. I have big dreams, but we continue to be the Benjamin Button of success. I'm trying to outwit social media who hates conservatives, but it's not working. It's like they're just kicking people off our platform on a regular. It's not happening. Look who's with us, Debbie! Yay! Debbie is here. Yeah, I can't find my bell. Not that I really looked for it, but you get a flag wave. How are you, Debbie? Good to see you back. Bobby Dutcher is here. Oh, okay. So we've got some of the old crew coming back. That's great.
Your mother's not here.
My mother's not here. My mother had a day too. So what's been going on?
She didn't get a haircut?
She got a haircut. Pop's got his haircut. She had visitors. It was a very energetic day for her too. I don't, as on vacation and dealing with hubby's health issue. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, everybody, please say a prayer for Debbie's husband. He is wonderful. I can't say enough about this man. Just a great guy. Hey, Jen, guess what time it is?
What time is it?
Time for the right stuff.
A half inch means a lot sometimes.
This pumpkin latte sucks, and I want to speak to your manager.
How much is the economy today? Oh, it's that much.
Objection, hearsay. Objection, leading. Objection, hearsay.
Where is that woman when Biden speaks?
Okay, well, it's going to be an interesting day because my internet's not working correctly. Jen, you might have to carry this show.
Oh, yeah. I'm just going to shut the computer off if that's the case. Go back to work. You know I'm not carrying that on. Sorry, guys.
Well, if I start freezing up, people let us know. And we'll have even fewer viewers than we have now. We went from tens of thousands to hundreds.
What tens of thousands?
Yes, we were up to tens of thousands. We were doing really well. And then there was 4th of July.
To that much.
Right. We went up an inch and then we went down 3 inches. And then 4th of July happened and it was not good. Oh, look who's here. Hello, Susan Remauro. It's good to see you. Oh, good. So the old crew is coming back. I hope everybody's having a really great summer. I don't blame you. I know it's been beautiful and lots of things have been going on. But I guess today, maybe the old crew's back because just a few minutes ago, about 90 minutes ago, Jack Smith brought down another indictment on Donald Trump. You know what this one was for, Jen?
No. What?
For election interference and inciting a riot on January 6th. So there was a lot of charges, but as usual, he stood up there and he politicized even his announcement of the indictment.
Oops. Oh, it's your mother.
Is it my mother? Oh, okay.
Hello?
Is it my mother?
Hello?
I be here from the beginning.
I don't know what's happening. Oh, we're on the show.
Okay. Well,
I hung up on her. I don't know.
you never know what's going to happen.
Interference. Not her. Whatever was on the other end of that noise.
Yeah. 3 for Trump now. Yeah. So, it is such a farce. It's an absolute farce. Yeah. The interesting thing is the only one who's actually interfering with an election right now is the DOJ, because they're trying to take the leading candidate out of the race, the leading candidate against the incumbent president out of the race. And no matter how you slice it, no matter what country you're in, that's called authoritarianism. When you prosecute your rival, that's an authoritarian government, and that's what we're seeing here now. And this is crazy stuff, and it's very scary because I don't know what we can do about it at this point. Of course, he interfered. He ran again. Yeah, exactly. He ran again. Trump will not back down. No, he won't. He's going to continue to run, even if he's indicted. He'll run no matter what. And the truth is the only way he cannot run. And I don't know. Check my facts, Peter, Professor. Maybe you could tell me. Is if they convict him of.
Treason.
Yeah, treason. That's the only way that he cannot run. Then he cannot be a candidate for president. Then he cannot serve as president of the United States. They're crapping their pants. Yeah, they must be, to go to these lengths. I mean, think about it. It's one thing, the ballots, the ballot harvesting, the stuff that they did in 2020, the FBI, Facebook, social media, the Russiagate, all that stuff. Those were low down, dirty tricks. They went too far using government agencies to try to put an election in somebody else's pocket. I mean, they did everything other than mark ballots themselves, and that's in question still, right? We still don't know whether or not all those paper ballots, turned out to change the election. They stopped the laptop story from getting out. So many things, so many reasons. Wait, let me see. I just want to see. My internet keeps on blinking, and I don't know if it's my connection or not. Well, anyway, so many things they tried to do in 2020 that actually people said that had they known about the laptop and it wasn't a hoax, if they knew that the Russiagate wasn't a hoax, that they would have voted differently, that they would have voted for Trump. So we know that was election interference, but that was kind of on the outside. It was from the perimeter. But this is direct election interference by trying to prosecute your opponent. So what do you say, Jen?
Nothing. You said it all.
I said it all. Hello, Martin. Oh, yes. Well, we're just talking about Jack Smith's third indictment of Donald Trump, this time for election interference. And we were talking about what the DOJ is doing is actual direct election interference because they're trying to knock off a candidate. Why isn't Biden convicted of treason? Well, they have to prove it first, Deb. The only requirement is age. Yes. Okay. So then even if he's convicted of treason, he can serve. He can pardon himself if convicted. No, because he's not a sitting president, so he can't. He has to be the president. All lies and Biden's are guilty. Well, isn't it interesting that Devin Archer testified in front of Congress yesterday, and it was pretty damning. I mean, there's a spin on this, and we're going to see it in a second. Lots of spin on this by the Democrats. But so Devin Archer testifies, indictment for Trump. Hunter Biden, in his plea deal last week, it wasn't accepted, and the announcement that there might be another indictment coming down the pipe was made by Jack Smith. So we're going to take a little look into Jack Smith and who he really is. Let's see. Yep. All right. Cynthia. An indictment does not mean he's guilty of anything. The left is so afraid of him. Hi, guys. Hugs to you. Hi, Cynthia. I went out to lunch with Cynthia and her beautiful daughter-in-law last week. We had a great time. And I want to thank you again, Cynthia, on air. Bribery is in the Constitution for grounds of impeachment. Well, I don't know. The problem is that the Senate's not going to vote to impeach. The same as what happened with Trump, right? But the difference is that with Trump, they were lies. They were fraud. They were lies. They were working hand in glove with the FBI on this whole Russiagate and conspiracy. They were working with Hillary Clinton, but they impeached him in Congress, but it didn't go through the Senate. But it doesn't matter, right? Because they're calling him the twice impeached president. Are people deaf, dumb, and blind, not seeing and hearing what is going on? That's who the media is pitching to, the deaf, dumb, and blind. I hear a lot of old Democrats changing their minds about Trump. It's brain-dead liberals. You're absolutely right. It's mostly the young people. Trump can win an election and pardon himself. Okay, so let's take a little look at Jack Smith and who he is. Watch.
Special counsel Jack Smith has been making national headlines since his indictment against former President Donald Trump on charges that he mishandled classified documents was made public. Here's what we know about the special counsel, who has been keeping a low profile despite being tasked with high-profile cases. Smith was appointed special counsel by Attorney General Merrick Garland in November 2022 to investigate Trump's possible mishandling of classified documents at Mar-a-Lago and his attempts to overturn the 2020 election leading up to the January 6th attack on the Capitol. The former led to an indictment with 37 felony counts against the former president, and the latter is still being investigated. In order to accept the job, Smith left his job as chief prosecutor in the International Criminal Court in The Hague, Netherlands, where he was overseeing Kosovo war crimes prosecution since 2018. Smith also has experience prosecuting at the state and federal level. The cases he investigated range from local gang violence to government corruption. Smith served in the Justice Department, where he led the Public Integrity Unit for 5 years. The team oversees public corruption and elections-related investigations. During his tenure, he investigated politicians from both sides of the aisle. Trump's team cites what they call Smith's spotty success record and have called the investigation politically motivated. But Smith's former colleagues at the DOJ say Smith represents the gold standard when it comes to investigating allegations of sophisticated federal criminal matters. Outside of his career as a prosecutor, Smith is a triathlete who has participated in more than 100 races across the globe. He is married to filmmaker Katie Chevney, who helped produce the Michelle Obama documentary Becoming. While Chevney donated in support of Biden in 2020, Smith is a registered independent.
All sounded pretty good up until the time we heard about his wife.
Well,
So he comes out of New York. He's part of the gang. He's part of the swamp. He is not independent whatsoever. And his wife is smitten with Michelle Obama and donated to Biden. So how independent can you be? Right there, that should have nullified his ability to be appointed.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Conflict of interest. It's just like a DA can. If you know the DA, you have to get a DA that's from another borough or office or town to hear your trial.
Right, so that there's no
Conflict of interest.
there's no prejudice against you. So Martin, before he left office, Donald J. Trump pardoned a bunch of people, some face decades more in jail. As former president, the same should be afforded to him. If for nothing else, he's a former president like Nixon. Yes. Well, to be pardoned, you first have to be found guilty. And I don't know that any of us believe that where they're trying these cases are all Democrat districts. So I just don't know. Trying him in Washington, D.C., which is so liberal. I mean, how does he get a fair trial there? The gold standard of corruption. Yeah, that's true because, right, wouldn't you say, look, I'm not taking this case because it will smell. It's bad enough the guy is the front runner for your front competitor against the sitting president. Let's all think about this for a minute, and let's not. I shouldn't be the one prosecuting it. Why didn't they take somebody from like Kentucky or Alabama or Alaska? Right? There are federal prosecutors in Alaska. Why not do that? Because they are not as they're not part of the swamp, and so they can't depend on them. Good evening, Ralph. How are you? He's part of the club. Yes, he is. He has had several cases overturned because he stretched to the definition of some laws. Excellent point, Bobby. Excellent point. Today, I urge you all, I didn't have time to clip it, but I urge you all to see his comments after the indictment came down. He went on about the heroes of the Capitol Police being heroes on the day of January 6th. And we all agree, the Capitol Police, heroes. All law enforcement, heroes. But what did that have to do with Donald Trump saying, let's go peacefully to Congress and talk about what's going on? Or I'm paraphrasing, of course. As a matter of fact, when he presented, he didn't, in the indictment, it doesn't use the word, let's go peacefully to the Capitol. It just says, let's go to the Capitol. So he paraphrased that. And that's not what you do in an indictment. You don't paraphrase that crap. Yes. Okay. Wow. There you go. Such BS. Yep. Absolutely. And been reprimanded by judges for that reason. Yes, I've heard that. It's a lynching, period. Yeah, it is. But it's authoritarianism at its worst. This is what America has fought against since its birth. This kind of corruption and total authority in government. Our founding fathers must be rolling in their graves. Punishment does not fit the crime because there isn't any crime. Excellent. Fox just said the judge in the case used to work in Hunter Biden's law firm. It's all in plain sight. Howard, you keep telling us what Fox is saying, because I watch Newsmax now almost exclusively, and I read, I watch Newsmax and I watch CNN. I haven't been watching Fox lately. So please, keep on telling us what Fox is saying, because I'm very interested. It's all in plain sight. Democrat politicians never seem to have a problem when their supporters were in 500 riots in over 50 states for a couple of years.
Yep, setting things on fire, throwing Molotov cocktails at the cops.
Yeah. Oh, isn't New York giving them $30 million? The George Floyd protesters, aren't they paying out $30 million because they were arrested? And some were it was in the paper. Hey, Margie, good to see you. Hope you're feeling well. Corruption to the max. Oh my God, absolutely. I don't understand how there's not a revolution yet. Well, right? January 6th was a peaceful demonstration that some Antifa people infiltrated, and where the police welcomed people into the Capitol, and then a riot broke out, and all of a sudden everybody who was there, including the president, are now treason. Are now what are they called, Jennifer? What do they call us? Not anarchists.
Insurrectionists.
Insurrection. Now we're all insurrectionists. Okay, so what did I want to say about this? I wanted to show you. Here's who they're prosecuting. Watch this. This is really, really scary in relation to Donald Trump. Watch.
The third suspect charged in the Donald Trump federal documents case faced the judge for the first time. Mar-a-Lago property manager Carlos de Oliveira is accused of conspiring to keep security footage from investigators. He is also accused of moving boxes containing classified documents for the former president. CBS News' Christian Benavides joins us now from outside the courthouse in Miami. Christian, what more did we learn from Carlos de Oliveira's appearance today?
So Mr. de Oliveira is a property manager at Mar-a-Lago, someone who worked his way through the ranks, apparently has worked at Mar-a-Lago for over a decade. And just from our own reporting, we went to his neighborhood, a townhouse, a middle-class neighborhood in Palm Beach Gardens, just about 20 minutes north of Palm Beach. And this is not someone who is believed to be part of the inner circle of Mr. Trump's orbit. This is a property manager at Mar-a-Lago, apparently working his way up through maintenance. And then he's being accused of essentially pressuring another Mar-a-Lago employee, trying to get that employee to delete some surveillance camera footage, asking, how far back, allegedly, according to the indictment, how far back do the recordings go, saying allegedly the boss wants this deleted, this footage deleted. Now, we don't know if that is essentially what ended up happening, because the special counsel's office has said that surveillance camera footage that they received from Mar-a-Lago was critical to their case, and they did receive certain, surveillance camera footage. But again, I think the big takeaway here is that Mr. De Oliveira is not like Walt Nauta, who is personal valet to Mr. Trump, who is within the inner circle of Mr. Trump. The judge did set a bond, a $100,000 signature bond. Now, what does this mean? This means that no money actually has to be put up, but he does sign, and if he doesn't show up to his actual arraignment, which will take place on August 10th, then he would theoretically have to pay that.
Him to say this, it's just great. He worked his way up as a groundskeeper to a property manager. Who grabbed him to pay him? I guarantee you someone's paying him.
Yeah. Paying him for what?
To say that.
To say what?
About the tapes. You have tapes. How far back does it go? My boss wants them.
Well, he was Trump's guy, and supposedly the whistleblower was the other person working in the Trump organization, who who said that De Oliveira wanted wanted to erase these tapes. The problem is that the DOJ got all the tapes that they need. They said that the tapes were critical to their investigation. So they got the tapes. So what are they talking about? So they go after this middle-class guy that works himself up from a maintenance man and who lives in a small house, in a townhouse, in a community outside of Palm Beach, and who, by the way, Donald Trump, the racist, right? Donald Trump, who hates black and brown people. This is his property manager, okay? And he let the guy work himself up for maintenance for Mar-a-Lago. So let's not forget that. But so they're scaring the hell out of regular people, the same way as they prosecuted the January 6th, people. And they haven't even charged not one of them with treason. Not one of the January 6th.
People are still sitting in jail.
Yeah, they're still sitting in jail, many of them without a trial. So, yeah, think about that. Yeah, it is disgusting. They just want to harass anyone associated with Trump. Great point, Howard. Great point. And that's what I've been trying to say. They're trying to scare the American people. So, Debbie, to your point before, why aren't we doing something about it? That whole January 6th was set up so that nobody tries to question an election again in this country. It's a long play game that they have going on here, the Democrats. And it's not just the Democrats, it's the swamp. Because they are trying to erase the whole Trump presidency. They're trying to treat him like he was never the president, that he was never a legitimate president, that he has no powers. They are trying to treat him as if he was a crook from the beginning who somehow infiltrated government. When the fact is that he was not part of the swamp, not part of DC, and he was the one who uncovered everyone's eyes to the corruption that was going on in DC, not just by the Democrats, but by the Republicans as well. And that's the reason that they don't want him. So be careful, everyone, when you just want to say the Democrats. It's not. It's the swamp. It's more than just Democrats. It is the DC swamp. False allegations. Absolutely. But this guy's got $100,000 bond. So he has to appear. He can't disappear. Thankfully that no money was exchanged. It was a signature bond. But still, that's a number that scares the hell out of anybody. Funny, Hillary Clinton had thousands of classified emails on the server in her bathroom, and Comey says nothing to see here after they destroyed cell phones, laptops, etc. Yeah, Howard, there is no justice here. So we could keep on comparing, but there is no comparison. The thing is, it's the spin, it's what people are talking about. And to me, the most important thing that the Republicans have to do is to make sure that the young people understand what is happening to this country right now, because the change in the mindset of the young people is so disturbing to me. Jen, I had a young Democrat tell me when I was running for office, stop talking about high taxes. The Republicans need to stop talking about high taxes. They need to figure out how to get money into our pockets, free money into our pockets, because that's what young people want.
That's where their high taxes go.
Yeah. Well, they don't get it. They don't get it. They think that government is just money, and they don't get that the high taxes, pay for all of the entitlement programs. But more importantly, this young Republican was asking for more entitlement.
You mean young Democrat?
No, young Republican.
Okay, because you said Democrat at first.
Oh, did I? No, a young Republican said this to me when I was running for office, that the Republicans have to stop talking about high taxes, have to start talking about how they're going to get some free money into our pocket, because that's what the young people want nowadays. Gonzalo Lira was put in jail in Ukraine because he supported Trump. I didn't know that. 100, so sick and evil. He'll always be our best president. Absolutely. And Trump is not a politician. Well, that's why they hate him. Trump keeps fighting for America. Yeah, and if you go back, he kept his promise. His promise was to always fight for us. So I'm jumping around on my list here, but let's see what they actually did. Let's see how the Democrats were spinning the Devon Archer testimony yesterday. Watch.
Devon Archer was one of Hunter Biden's closest business associates and served alongside the president's son on the board of Burisma, a Ukraine energy firm. Both Republicans and Democrats said Archer testified that Hunter Biden put his father on speakerphone around business associates. Last night, the Republican chairman of the House Oversight Committee called the testimony damaging.
He knew exactly who his son was getting those millions and millions of dollars of wires from, and he spoke to them, and he spoke to them often.
But a Democrat who was there during Archer's interview said he did not hear any evidence of wrongdoing by President Biden.
So to confirm, you're saying that the speakerphone conversations, they don't seem concerning to you because there was no specifics about business, and it just seemed like
it was clear that it was part of the daily conversations that Hunter Biden had with his father, and it was and sounded like most of the time now President Biden didn't even know who the people he was at dinner. He was just asked to say hello, and he would talk about the way he described it several times. They asked over and over and over. He described what the weather was, how what's going on your end. The witness was very consistent that none of those conversations ever had to do with any business dealings or transactions. They were purely what he called casual conversations.
Backwards and drug dealers.
How's the weather?
Mercedes.
So let me ask you. If you were going to put me on the phone with a group of people that you were out to dinner with, and I'm the vice president of the United States, is it to talk about the weather, or is it to impress those people?
To impress them, of course. And that guy, if you listen to him carefully, basically said that his son was doing something, but Biden wouldn't even know who those people were, so it doesn't really matter. Mm-hmm. So the son's still home. Biden doesn't know who he is, so it doesn't I'm sure he didn't know who these people were. Almost positive.
Well, true, Biden didn't know who he is, but the fact, listen, you know your son is got business in China. You know your son has business in Ukraine. You know your son has business in Romania, because I know where you have business. You know where I have business, because we have a mother-daughter relationship. You tell me about the different companies you're working for, what they do, everything else, right? That's normal conversation. So if he calls Pops and says, "Hey, Pops, say hello to my friends," maybe he didn't identify all the people at the table, but you don't think that Pops doesn't know that he's talking to these people to impress the hell out of them, so the son gets a little extra money in the pot? So maybe there was no direct correlation between the conversations on the speakerphone, because that was just the beginning of the setup, right? Just having a bunch of absentee ballots out there doesn't in and of itself win you an election. You have to have coordination. You have to have, people in the street filling out those ballots. You have to have a chase. You have to have all those things that we know that the Democrats did in 2020. Same with this. It's a campaign. It's a long play. And anybody and here is Dan Goldman spinning this. And by the way, yes, Goldman is a hack. Guess who Dan Goldman was?
Who?
He's the lawyer on against Trump for the first impeachment.
Oh, really?
And now he's a member of Congress. Joe Biden used his drug addict son as a bag man. This is the type of dad he is. Disgusting. Absolutely.
And then he told everybody his son did nothing wrong with the gun application, even though he said he wasn't on drugs, and he was. And he said, my son didn't do anything wrong.
Yes. And he said, I never got involved with my son's business dealings. I don't know anything about my son's business dealings. This is why regular Americans are starting to become suspicious, because, to dismiss, what Dan Goldman said might be facts, right? That the Devin Archer came in there and said there was casual conversations at the table. Those are probably facts. I'm sure they're facts. I'm sure that he actually spoke almost verbatim of what Devin Archer said. But now, good investigative reporters, if we had some in the media, would say, wait a minute. Why would that have happened? I mean, honestly. Would you be sitting around out at a business meeting or a business dinner and call me on the phone just to say hi? Okay. In the middle of you're trying to woo a client, you're going to just call me. I'm a regular person. You're just going to call me on the phone just to say hi? Come on. It was for a reason. These alleged conversations occurred before Biden was president. Yes, they did. But the question at hand is, and you're right, because you can't impeach Biden for things that happened when he was vice president. Absolutely. But is it continuing on as he is president? That's the question. And that's what our news media should be sniffing out. That's what the DOJ and the FBI and the IRS should all be sniffing out. Disgusting dad, disgusting president. Well, listen, he had a 7th grandchild, Biden, and he only just now acknowledged her. And you know why? Because polls showed that American people were pissed off that he wasn't acknowledging his granddaughter. I'm honored to know you, Leticia. Thank you, Debbie. I'm honored to know you as well. Joe Biden doesn't know what the day of the week is. If that's the excuse they want to use, then they are confirming Joe has dementia and needs to leave. Yeah, it's true. What is interesting here is that Obama knew about Biden, and they are really protecting Obama. I'll go with you on that. And the problem is, you can't. What are you going to do to Obama? Well, maybe you could do to Obama what they're doing to Trump. But is it going to happen? No. Why? Because the swamp runs deep, and Obama was part of the swamp, and so was Biden. Biden crime family. And it extends beyond his brother, his grandchildren, his son. This whole thing is a cabal. It's a cabal from the inside. And it is a bunch of people in Washington trying to protect their wealth. Redistricting will outgo them in the next election. I hope you're right. That's what they think we should believe. What they have, our eyes are wide open and they're also corrupt. Yeah, well, our eyes are open. The problem is the kids that want the free money, the kids that want their college tuition, forgiven, their grants forgiven, the kids that are doing something now called bed rot. That's their thing. They lay in bed all day playing video games. They have a name for it. It's called bed rot. The kids that don't want to work. The deal was made before he was president. Yes, indeed. And yes, it's continuing because now it's coming to pass. Yeah, they just quietly erased a Trump era rule that colleges and schools had to disclose if they had any connections with money coming in from communist China. They just erased that. Let's see. The deals made are now being fulfilled. The swamp is so deep. The mafia has nothing on this administration. No, they don't. Okay, so let's have some fun. These are some of the people. These are some of the people that are behind our so-called elected officials, the people pulling the strings. This is what's been going on this week in Washington. I don't know if anybody saw Robert F. Kennedy. Jen, did you see Robert F. Kennedy testify?
I have not watched.
Well, he was testifying on censorship in Congress, and Representative Plaskett had some commentary. The commentary was with respect to the Biden laptop. She wanted to enter some stuff into the record. I want you to watch very closely this clip, and you can't leave, you can't blink, you can't watch the woman behind her. Okay?
Administrative matters first. I wanted to introduce into the record page 55 from the committee's interview with FBI employee Roya Demlow, who you just spoke about, which took place on July 17, 2023. In that line, she says, the question was asked, okay, if someone were to leave here today, were to leave this interview and were to suggest or imply that when you said the laptop was real, that it meant that the FBI had affirmatively determined in October 2020 that the laptop belonged to Hunter Biden, that the contents belonged to Hunter Biden, and that the contents had not been manipulated in some way, would they be representing what you said, correct? Answer by Ms. Demlow. They would be representing what I said because I don't have much knowledge of that. They would be misrepresenting what I said because I don't have much knowledge of that. Because this committee likes to misrepresent or leave off complete sentences of what individuals said, I'd like to introduce this into the record.
Objection. She's nuts. No. That's crazy.
You think there's a little cocaine on Capitol Hill?
Probably was hers.
Nothing will happen to Joe Biden. Hillary and Bill stole $11 billion from Haiti, and the Clinton Foundation took in hundreds of millions from foreign countries. Nothing will be done. We just have to hope Trump gets back into the White House and cleans house and FBI and CIA and DOJ. From your mouth to God's ears, I just hope they don't kill him first. Biden refused him Secret Service detail. Who, Trump? All right. Oh, my God. Yeah. You think she was a speechwriter? She's the one that brought the coke into the White House. Her eyes were bulging. There you go, Margie. There you go. You get a flag wave for that. Absolutely. I mean, these are the aides. These are the aides on Capitol Hill, my friends. These are the people that are working behind the scenes. Did she have a visit with Hunter? Kennedy was fantastic. Absolutely, he was fantastic. I urge everybody to go on C-SPAN and watch that hearing. Kennedy tore Plaskett a new a-hole. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. All right. Well, I don't know, Jen. I know you didn't see this. This is Mitch McConnell giving his.
Oh, I definitely saw it. I know it's going to be
After finishing the NDA this week, has been good bipartisan cooperation and a string of
Okay, Mitch. Anything else you want to say, or should we just go back to your office? Do you want to say anything else to the press? Go back.
Go ahead, John.
I'll take it. Let's go back to you.
Go ahead, John.
So this is the, we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the IRA.
So anyway, guys, I saw that.
What was going on there, Jen?
He shit himself. That's my guess. I'm probably right.
It certainly looked like.
Oh, fuck.
He did. He had the face like a baby who's trying to poop in his diaper. Oh my God. Tragic. Tragic.
Can you imagine if him and Biden hung out? Alone.
What would the conversation be, Jen?
I don't know. I can't. Just let them go in the mall alone.
I could. That would be the longest conversation. You know, they're supposed to meet. He's the minority leader of the Senate. You know, they're supposed to meet and have conversations. What would that look like? What would that look like? Bobby's fiction. Kennedy refused Secret Service detail. Was refused Secret Service detail. Mitch must have had a mini stroke. Terrible. Listen, I have sympathy for him, but there's a certain point when you know when to get out. Everybody needs to know when to get out. You know, I have stepped out of leadership positions because of things that were going on in my family, in my life, because I knew that I couldn't continue on and give it my 1000%. You know, why do these people not know when to get out? Why? Return cavity, a new rectum cavity was torn into her. Yeah, that's true.
Well, it is. It's like the mafia. You never leave. You either get whacked or you die.
Well, it's not supposed to be that way. Said, time to go, Mitch. You took the cocaine and thought it was frosting. If he took the cocaine, he would have been better off. Joe Biden versus Mitch McConnell playing checkers on C-SPAN. That would be intriguing television. Could you imagine?
No. Like, oh, never mind. No. What are we doing? Who are you?
Riveting. I bet you they get more viewers than we get.
100%.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Seriously. Yep. I can't either. But guess what? The conversation would be, remember the Alamo? Wait, who are you? Who's talking? What? What are we doing? It's almost as bad as Biden going up to the King's Guard and chatting with him.
Yeah.
I mean, and all the stupid things Biden has done, we're going to show you one in a minute. That to me had to be the worst, the absolute worst. Everybody knows you don't talk to the King's Guard. Yes, medications mix up. Yeah, it probably was. And honestly, we wish him well. No, that was probably very embarrassing, very frightening. But again, you got to know when it's time to go. And your aides can't keep you in just to get a paycheck. Enough is enough. I'm laughing with you. Lion meat. Yeah. If you don't know what she's referring to, you got to go back and watch a couple of episodes about a month ago. Okay, so the only thing that could add more trouble to a Mitch Biden conversation would be a Mitch Biden Feinstein conversation.
Yeah, this just developing. Senator Dianne Feinstein has had a lot of questions about her health. Remember, she was out for about 2 months with shingles, and then she is said to have encephalitis, which is an inflammation of the brain. She moves around the Hill with a wheelchair. Her staff helps her with a lot here on Capitol Hill. A lot of reporters have seen that firsthand. And then there's this moment that just happened in a committee meeting today where she seems to need help to vote in that committee meeting. Here is that moment.
Senator Feinstein.
You say aye.
Pardon me?
Aye.
Yeah.
Just say
I would like to support a yes vote on this. It provides $823 billion. That's an increase of $26 billion for the Department of Defense. And it funds priorities submitted.
Yeah, just say aye.
Okay, just
aye.
So that's a part in that committee meeting where they vote on various measures of legislation. You saw what looks like a male staff member go over to the senator because instead of voting, the senator begins what appear to be prepared remarks. And then Patty Murray, a fellow Democrat and the chair of that committee, tells Senator Feinstein to just say aye. And that's what the senator does. So another concerning moment for a lawmaker here caught on camera. Kira.
Feinstein.
Does that remind you of anything, Jen? Think Chevy Chase. Think Christmas Vacation.
Oh, yeah. And Grace.
Say Grace. I should say Grace.
Like 30 years ago.
Go ahead, do it, Jen.
I did it. That's it.
You're no fun.
I know.
And Fetterman. Oh, good. I'm glad you brought him up. We have some Fetterman for you, too. That would be a good conversation. We'll add Fetterman into that. Seriously, enough with these dementia people running our country. Yeah, hello. Maybe the space aliens are controlling.
If you did all this, I would have sent you Pelosi when she looked like she was having a stroke on TV. Forgot what day it was.
Oh, my God. Maybe the space aliens took control of Mitch McConnell's mind. Oh, my God. The guy testifying in front of Congress about aliens was right. We have a clip of that too. A simple operation can reduce the pressure of fluids inside her. I know. Listen, again, as a mother of a disabled child who died of strokes, health conditions are not funny. But when you insist on staying in Congress and being in the public eye during this part of your life where other people are making decisions for you, it is absolutely unacceptable. It's those are the people. Jill should be helping Joe get the hell out. Feinstein's aides. All these people are there to line their own pockets. It's very sad to see what's happening. It sure is. Hi, Leticia. Hey, Sal, how are you? Wondering where you were. Oh, my God, it must be the water. Yeah, maybe it is. Sorry, not that it be
She was the one on coke. She wouldn't shut up.
What this all proves is that our elected officials aren't really the ones in charge. Excellent point, Professor. Excellent point. Well, let's add this one to the mix. How about this one?
Busloads of migrants have been dropped off right at your doorstep by some GOP-led states. Despite those tactics, you do have Republicans who are largely making inroads with Latino voters. And there are many critics, some within your own party, who say that there's more that your administration should be doing on the migration front. Do they have a point?
So, first of all, let's agree that people should not be the pawns in a political game. Human beings should not be treated as pawns in a political game. What is happening in terms of sending these migrants, most of whom have fled great harm, and sending them across the country for the sake of some political showmanship, is just irresponsible. If you want to deal with the problem, then do it, if you are a leader, by participating in the solution. And one very clear solution, very significant solution, has been in front of us for years now. We need to pass immigration reform.
It's in Martha's Vineyard. Problem solved. Bye now.
She wants to pass immigration reform. How come that didn't pass when they had both houses? How come she wasn't out the border calling for immigration reform when they had both houses? It's, please, just, that was the most cohesive statement she made in her entire almost 4 years as vice president.
That the eyes.
Stop illegal by closing the border. Yeah, good idea. You want to deal with the problem and the solution is close the border. Very good. We have all the answers here. I have never heard some talk as much as Kamala Harris and say absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
They say they want to let them in so that they can escape the horrible lives they're living. Come to Irby, because outside they're all living on the grassy knoll with no clothes on. They're drinking in the middle of the day. They don't have a life. They don't have homes. There's nowhere to put them. There's nothing to do. And it's funny, somebody that when de Blasio was in office, you were not allowed to call INS if one of the migrants did something illegal. You were not, it was a known fact, it was said to every cop under de Blasio's ruling. Yeah. You are not to call INS. Why?
Yeah.
It's a crime. Wait, we're not prejudiced, we're not racist, we don't segregate anybody.
We're a sanctuary city. Because we're a sanctuary city.
Yeah. This is something successful.
We're a sanctuary city, and now Adams wants to, is crying that he needs money because you see the migrants all around the Roosevelt Hotel, and Joe Biden said, we'll send you a liaison. Yeah. $4.5 billion the migrants will cost us, and they're going to send a liaison. No money, a liaison. Why is it I pay taxes and I can't get things for free when I need it? Well, that's, why? Because all the good guys, all the people that do the right things are taking it up.
The bad ones.
Yep. We're taking it up the rear end. Oh, and did you hear that Joe Biden cured cancer?
In the last two State of the Union addresses, I've laid out what I call the unity agenda. It's made up of four big things that we're going to do together as a nation. One of the things I'm always asked is, why Americans have sort of lost faith for a while on being able to do big things. If you could do anything at all, Joe, what would you do? I said I'd cure cancer. They looked at me like, why cancer? Because no one thinks we can. That's why, and we can. We'd end the cancer as we know it.
End the cancer as we know it. Did you know that, Jen?
Oh, to me, it just sounded like that's what he wants to do. It didn't sound like he said he did it.
He ended cancer as we know it. What did he do to end cancer as we know it? Nothing. People are still number one killer. Nothing has changed. He's a joke, indeed. Hopefully there will be no medical emergency that invokes absentee ballots and pre-election day voting. I don't know about that. They just had another lab with AIDS and all kinds of other diseases where they found it in. Have you seen the 2-minute video where some guy brings 3 illegal migrants to a Democrat's house and asks him if the illegal immigrants can stay at his house? It was hysterical. I didn't, but I saw one where people in England were actually asking, they were at a protest where they were all saying, let the migrants in. And so the guy asked, could they take home a migrant? And nobody could. He is the answer. He is the guy.
I came home with this stupid migrant.
Maybe he knows something no one else knows about curing cancer. Yes, in his mind. He was curing it in his mind. Okay, so let's see a little bit about Fetterman's behind the scene person. This is his wife, Giselle. I tried to take it, well, just watch.
You came here when you were 7 years old with your mom and your brother. You were an undocumented immigrant. What was that experience like for you as a little kid?
You know, I watched America on television, right? So what I thought of America was just what I knew on TV. It was like
so what was your perception? Oh, Home Alone.
And all the houses looked the same. I remember getting here, things were very cold. That was like my first memory, how the hairs inside my nose were frozen. But also like feeling welcomed. You know, I moved into Queens. It was kind of a melting pot. I had a soft landing spot. And we did everything right. We paid our taxes. We worked really hard. But then I remember thinking, oh my God, some people maybe don't want us to be here. And that was a hard reality because I felt very American.
And I read that your mother told you when you were a little girl to be invisible. And when I read that, it broke my heart. But I mean, what was that like as a little kid? And what did that mean exactly?
So she was protecting us, right? Because if we drew attention or got in trouble or did anything, our families' lives could have changed. And we would have been deported to a family to a country we no longer really knew. And the dream was to open this pool and make it a public pool, turn it into the people's pool, and ensure that young people across Pennsylvania could learn how to swim and learn water safety and kind of work to right some of the wrongs. You know, historically, swimming in America is very racist. And usually when you look at drowning statistics, that usually affects children of color because of lack of access. A very romantic story.
Giselle met her future husband after reading an article about his work as the mayor of Braddock and then paying him a visit.
How did John Fetterman propose to you?
I had just moved into town and he was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I love you so much, blah, blah, blah. I can't live without you, blah, blah, blah. Marry me.
So you've described yourself as a bit of a reluctant political spouse. I think it's fair to say you weren't dying to get into politics.
I mean, I still hate politics. I don't know how I ended up here. I just think it's, I hate what it has become. And I think it can be very different, of course. And we need to elect the right people to change that.
Exactly where she came from. As a lady boy. 1000%. Her name was Greg.
I like how in one story she heard about John Fetterman as mayor of Braddock, and so she asked for a meeting, and that's how they got together. But in the other story, he was new in town, and he decided he loved her and wanted to marry her. So
the real story is he went, hello, is this the lady boy number? Can you send over one lady boy to Pennsylvania? Thank you. That's the real story. In my head, at least.
Let's see. Please. Go dress your husband. Something is racist. I know, Jen. She just glossed right over that. I figured Jen was going to jump right on that.
She's an idiot. I couldn't see past the lady boy.
I can now see from her size why she's attracted to her husband. Oh my God. I don't know. All I know is if you put the two of them next to a picture of Lurch and Morticia, or
well, that's the good one.
Okay. Here's one that's not so funny. Here's the new head of the Soros Foundation and Company.
Meet Alexander Soros. He's a 37-year-old billionaire philanthropist.
an allegedly reformed party animal who now spends his time donating to causes. And of course, he plays a role in influencing politics, because Alexander, or Alex, is the son of George Soros, the billionaire financier who keeps getting accused of meddling in international affairs and doing his best to crush conservative right-wing parties. Alex was present at the interview where George Soros confirmed his retirement. The heir then made a statement. He described himself as, quote-unquote, more political than his father. And Alex threw down the gauntlet. He said, and I quote, "As much as I would love to get money out of politics, as long as the other side is doing it, we'll have to do it too." There are no questions about what he'll do in the US. Alex is known to be a frequent visitor to the White House. Those visits are likely to get more frequent in the run-up to next year's US presidential election.
But say it again.
It's his cocaine. They said he visits. It was his, the party animal.
That's right, the party animal. So we got two party animal sons that seem to be in charge of what's going on here, making decisions about our country. Yeah, problem. Unibrow is considered sexy where she came from. Yeah, she said that she gets lots of threats, and the biggest nasty comments is about her eyebrows, like father, like son.
Waxing for her?
She likes her eyebrows. Yeah. Oh God, not another one. Well, yeah, we got one. Guilty as charged, probably worse. Absolutely. All right, and finally, the House had a hearing on UAPs or UFOs or whatever you want to call it. And here's what we learned.
A House Oversight and Accountability Subcommittee held a historic hearing on unidentified anomalous phenomena, also known as UFOs. Lawmakers heard from 3 witnesses today, including former U.S. military and intelligence community personnel who claim to have come into contact with such objects. Natalie Brand has more now from that hearing.
We have nothing close to it.
Retired Navy Commander David Fravor testified before Congress about an encounter he cannot explain. A strange tic-tac-shaped object he says he saw in the sky during a training mission in 2004.
The technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had.
Lawmakers on Capitol Hill are digging into the national security concerns and the mystery posed by unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs, also known as UFOs.
Do you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs?
Absolutely, based on interviewing over 40 witnesses over 4 years. I know the exact locations.
A whistleblower who formerly worked on the Defense Department's UAP task force, David Grush, claims he was denied access to information on a government UFO crash retrieval program, something the Pentagon disputes.
Biologics came with some of these recoveries.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to.
Congress members from both sides of the aisle are demanding more transparency from the U.S. Department of Defense.
All right, well, the aliens are already here. Laugh my ass up. Yeah, and it seems to be that they're all residing in Congress. Good distraction. Notice when they segue to the shiny object. Yes, exactly. They are flying the illegals over. Yeah, well, why not? Now, listen, aliens, doesn't matter. Migrants, aliens, we'll take them all. They're trying to distract us from what's happening in our country. Absolutely, Susan. Non-human must be the Bidens. Excellent. Crash retrieval. Wasn't there a crash on 9/11 at the Pentagon? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Wow. So I hope you learned a little bit about the people who are behind the people that are making the decisions on all of our lives, and how crazy this all is. We are really facing difficult times, ladies and gentlemen, really difficult times. And I think that we all have to talk about it, and I think we all have to keep our heads straight. We can't keep on dividing ourselves, Democrat, Republican. We can't keep dividing ourselves black, white. We can't keep on dividing ourselves gay, straight. All of this has to stop. we have to do is recognize for our own good that the real problem is the swamp in Washington and all those 3-letter agencies. We've got to get to the bottom of it, and we have to get Donald Trump elected.
Yes.
We need an outsider in there.
I agree. And I have to go get my blood pressure pills before 9. Otherwise, my head's going to explode. Which is probably why I'm a little quiet today, because I'm burning up.
All right, Jenny. Well, you feel better. God help us all. Bye, Sal. Good to have you again. Pray if you meet an alien, they don't say, take me to your leader. Indeed. Good night.
Good night.
Everybody who watches us, please, if you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. On Rumble, subscribe, give us a rumble. And we'll see you all next Tuesday.
Yes. Bye.